Hey everyone, welcome back to Under the Covers. I'm Charlie. That's Nick
Nick.
over there.
But I literally, right when we were getting ready to hit record, my foot fell off, like slipped off the chair leg,
Mm-hmm.
and I just stubbed it right in the ground, and it hurts really
Ouch.
bad. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
oh. That reminds me,
he's
my coworker's wife. He said she hurt her foot this weekend by stepping weird off a step, and she got X-rays today, and the two bones inside of her foot, well, two of the bones inside of her foot, like hit each other so hard that it chipped the other bone. So she's got like a bone fragment in her
wow.
foot. So yeah, that probably hurts a little worse than that. But I guess they can't do
How
anything for
how
it. They just like put it
how'd
in
she,
a boot.
how'd she do that?
He said she was going to get groceries out of the car and like took a weird step off the porch or something and just landed hard and awkwardly, and it like made the
She
bones.
probably shouldn't have stepped on that stone because that's not your stepping stone. Not your stepping stone.
So,
Not your. Oh no! That was a dumb joke, and I set it up.
no, it's good. It's good. It lives in infamy now. But we are under the covers. We're a podcast. We talk about music. We pick up a popular song and then discuss it, pick a cover version of that song and discuss it, and then at the end we decide which one we like better. And that's when the gong of decision is
And
rang.
I'm Nick.
Yeah, yep.
And
He
I'm
is
Nick. I'm
Nick.
not sure if we introduced ourselves.
We did. Well, you were laughing at hurting your foot and then thinking of the great joke.
That's what it did.
But we got a
I'm a
special
comedian.
episode. We got a special episode for you today. Both Nick and I are dressed to the nines with our moon gear for the solar eclipse,
Mm-hmm.
the total solar eclipse
It
of
is.
20. Can you see out of those?
I
Do they look like 3D
no,
glasses?
and that's why I had to. No, I thought so I just grabbed them today. So we ordered them a while ago, but I grabbed them today to put them on, and they're like blackout unless you're looking right at the sun. So
Wow.
when I put them down here, I can't see anything. But
But
when
you
I put
look
them like
damn cool.
this, I'm getting. I look damn cool. Nobody. I got these shifty eyes. Nobody knows where I'm looking.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we have the eclipse coming up here,
Mm-hmm.
and we're in upstate New York. We're in totality, so we're uh we're excited about. There's parties going on. There's supposed to be like hundreds of thousands of people coming here.
That's cool.
First
And
indicators say it's going to rain though,
it's
so
like a
hope
work day too, isn't it? Isn't it on Monday?
for those lowly souls that don't have vacation time.
Ah, okay.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
we're
So
we're
no,
only at
actually, the
about
schools are closed. Banks are closed.
for real.
Yeah, it's all
Wow,
closed.
interesting. Are they worried about something bad happening, or do they just want to give
No,
everybody
I
the
just
opportunity?
I honestly to see the eclipse. I think it's actually because of the amount of people supposed to be in the area,
Okay,
and it's a pretty big event, I guess.
okay.
But
Well,
I guess I don't know really why they canceled all that.
if you do happen to go downtown during the eclipse, and there's an old Asian man selling plants, strange, unusual plants that you've never seen before, don't buy it.
But
You don't get the reference, do you?
no,
Little
no, I
Shop of
don't. What is
Horrors.
it? Oh, no,
Yeah,
I have never seen that movie.
that's a classic. It's a classic. I
That's
don't
why
know if
it
it was
went
a
straight over my head.
I don't know if it was a movie first or a musical, but it's pretty excellent with good old Rick Moranis. Steve Martin's in it.
oh, he,
Yeah,
he's good too.
yeah. He's a
I should watch it.
deranged
I heard it's
dentist.
good. So we're over at our house. We're actually having a Dark Side of the Moon party. So as you can see here, I've got the record albums all up. Everybody knows, well, a lot of people should know that listen to this podcast that Pink Floyd released an album, 1972, I think, maybe 73, not sure which one. But Dark Side of the Moon, one of the most popular albums of all time. And the last song on the album is Eclipse. So I am timing it so that right when the eclipse, the full totality starts, the song Eclipse is starting. And coincidentally, it lasts the same amount of time as the eclipse. So when it's
Nice.
done, the song is done. then the sun comes back out.
Nice. Well, I
You
am
wanna guess what
guessing
my next song is?
that album was made in '73 based off of your shirt there that says '73 on it.
Right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could have used that as a cheat sheet. But we are not
I could have been
talking
covered by
about that
this
song
area.
today. So,
No,
spoiler
no.
alert.
But the next song I'm playing, you didn't answer my question. Next question was what song would I play next after Dark Side of the Moon?
Oh, it's got to be Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Here comes the sun.
Oh, okay.
No, it's Here Comes the Sun, because the fucking sun's coming out.
Good point. Not if it's raining, but it is somewhere, just behind the clouds.
Yeah, and then yeah. So, but that's not the. Yeah, you're right. That's not the song we're talking about today. We went through a lot of iterations for this. We struggled with this one.
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of options we went through. I'm happy with the one we landed on.
I am too. You know what? It put me in a new spot. I wouldn't pick either one of these artists or this song if it wasn't for this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Nope.
It's not Man on the Moon, because that was kind of moon reference. It wasn't Space Oddity, which is his odd space event.
We could
what
wait
song
for
is it, Charlie?
We could wait for the live audience to give us some guesses. Just wait a bit.
So we'll be here until we release it, and then
we are doing "Blinded by the Light," the Bruce Springsteen vehicle, and then the cover by Manfred Mann's Earth Band, which is the one everybody knows.
Yes, and the thing is yes, folks, this is a public service announcement. If you're gonna go look at the eclipse, don't be blinded by the light, because looking at the full eclipse can still hurt your retinas. That's why you need glasses like these.
Yeah, you get those solar flares.
Because I can't see shit.
I tell you what, man, I did some research, and when I say some research, about 20 seconds of Googling, but I didn't realize, well, you hear all this stuff about how it can damage your eyes, hurt your eyes, but you actually don't feel pain when it happens. It just burns like retinas in the back of your eye, and then it could be like 2 days before you realize, oh shit, I burned my eyes. So yeah,
I don't think that's what you would say. I think you would say I was blinded by the light.
Yes. Were you revved up like a douche?
Like a feminine hygiene product.
Wrapped up like a douche.
Oh shit. Well, depends on what kind of person you are.
Depends if you're Manfred Mann or Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
But we do have a advertiser for
this.
We do have an advertiser for this episode if we want to just get that in here.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm excited.
All right. So our episode today is brought to you by Born to Shade Eclipse Glasses. Are you ready to witness the cosmic spectacle of a lifetime? Well, hold on to your hats, because Born to Shade Eclipse Glasses are here to make sure you catch every moment in style. Nick's wearing them right now. These babies are more than just your average shades. Our Born to Shades Eclipse Glasses are born to run with the sun, ensuring you're not blinded by the light when the big moment arrives. With the boss's spirit guiding us, we've crafted these glasses to withstand even the toughest darkness on the edge of town. Don't give yourself retinal burns because face it, you're not cool enough to pull off an eye patch. So don't be left dancing in the dark without proper eye protection. Get your Born to Shade Eclipse Glasses today and witness the magic of the universe like never before. Because when it comes to eclipses, baby, we were born to shade.
Oh, the old eye patch joke.
Yeah,
makes a return.
They
you know what?
Somehow, I think they're listeners of the podcast. They did include a song, but I will.
I'm sure. Are you ready to play the song? Because I'm ready to listen to the song.
Yeah, this is their radio jingle. So here we go. So
Those are amazing. I am
Born
so
to Shade.
glad we are.
Um,
Yeah,
so I think
I love that
the
we have a house
writers,
band that helps produce those.
I think the writers of that jingle took on inspiration from this song "Blinded by the Light" with all the rhyming words. And they just took out a
Yes,
rhyming dictionary and just went to town.
that's yeah, yeah. I thought there was a part there. As a matter of fact, I got way into the Kool-Aid, it's Raid, whatever it was going on there. As a matter of fact, that might be my next ringtone. Cool in the Shade or whatever brand that was, which is
Born to
beautifully amazing that you guys. I'm glad that they're on board.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
we
gonna be my
appreciate
ringtone on my phone for
it.
show.
Nice. So thanks again. But no,
And I'm intrigued, like nobody understands.
but we could talk about the song now a little bit. I guess Bruce Springsteen wrote this for his first album. I read he had a bunch of tracks already put out and laid down, but the record company didn't hear a single, and so they wanted him to go back and write some more songs. And this is one of them. And yeah, like I kind of mentioned with the Born to Shade jingle, he literally like went home, just started writing about you know himself, autobiographical people he knows, and then just started rhyming a shitload.
A shitload. I'll say this. Guy, there's a lot to unpack to what you just said there. So
Yeah,
not only was it the record company that was like, I don't hear a single here. It's fucking Clive Davis, right? Like, I mean, probably the best A&R man and single identifier in the world of all time. Um, and yeah, he was the songs that he put down for Ashbury Park. Is it Ashbury Park? Yeah, Ashbury Park. Um, half of them were kind of his own songs, kind of like by himself, and half of them were with the E Street Band or his band.
hmm
And they submitted the album to the company and said, nah, we need something better. And I think, you know what? I think there's certain times, I don't know how you work, but I work better under pressure. Like if you gave me a year to do something, I'm gonna fuck around for 11 months and
yeah,
then
me too.
got a lot of pressure and be like, oh shit, here's something good. I don't know. Do you feel the same way? Do you work
I
that way?
do. I agree. Yes, I definitely work better under pressure with a timeline, deadline, that type of stuff.
And he also did the same night Spirit in the Sky, which I listened to that song. I don't know that song. Never heard that before.
I did not listen to it, and the name of it doesn't sound familiar. I honestly don't know too many Bruce Springsteen songs other than "Born in the USA" and "Dancing in the Dark." Those ones.
Yeah.
"Born to Run." But yeah,
Well,
this one.
you know, this album was critically acclaimed, but it wasn't extremely popular because it was his first one. He had been performing in bars and you know other things for 8 years leading up to this, and was obviously signed. He kind of made this whole album sort of like, hey, finally somebody's going to listen to my lyrics, so I'm going to pack a whole bunch of them in there, and then
Hmm.
hey, the last song we're going to do here is put a bunch more. So um it's a good album all the way through and through. This song actually, after people heard it and it was getting out there to music critics, they were comparing him a lot to Dylan
Hmm.
because of the barrage of lyrics, the rhyming, the way it was kind of delivered, and those
Hmm.
types of things, which was, um, you know, respectable. I could totally see it, um, but the album didn't chart until years later. As a matter of fact, it didn't chart until Springsteen released "Born in the USA" album, which is the one that I think you and I both know a lot. I know "Born to Run," which was in '75, was a big one, but Born in the USA, I think that kind of hit when we were cognizant of what's going on in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I read somewhere that in the first year this album, Greetings from Raspberry Park, was out, sold like 23,000 copies. So wasn't really spreading out there too much. I also read, and
Yeah.
again, it sounds like you listened to the whole album. I have not, but
Mhm.
I thought I read a note somewhere that Blinded by the Light was the only song on the album that actually had electric guitar in it. So this album sounded much more folky, storyteller,
Yeah.
songwriter
Yeah,
kind of.
it definitely was. I guess
And again,
I
I
listened to
read
it.
it
I
in
gotta
a
say, I
quick.
listened to it once.
Yeah, and I don't know. I only read it in a quick note, but so there might be electric guitar somewhere else in there, but I didn't listen to the album like I said.
Yeah, now that I'm listening through in my head, because I only listened to it one time today, and I was doing work. I guess that could be true. Um, Probably. Maybe we should do some more research on our songs before we do this.
Hey,
But
well, we were
it's all
doing the
good.
research on the song, not the album, so.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know that after this album, the E Street Band became a big part of obviously his sound. A lot of the band was on there. There was a couple different members, but they definitely became became Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band sort of after this because of the reception of this song specifically. It was a good.
So this song, I also read that there was only 2 members of the E Street Band that were on it. The saxophone player, Clarence Clemens, rest in peace.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
And the drummer, Vinny Mad Dog Lopez. And then
The old Mad Dog.
The old Mad Dog. And then Harold Wheeler, excuse me, played piano. And he is an Academy Award-winning Broadway conductor, composer, and orchestrator, and the future Dancing with the Stars musical director. So apparently guy who recorded piano on this song now works for Dancing with the Stars. So good for
Jeez.
him.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure he got that gig because he had this resume and probably had to start around here. I mean, I don't know if this was his first album or not, but it's a hell of a trajectory.
Yeah.
The guitarist. Do you know what the guitarist's name is? The guy with the bandana.
No, the guy who looks like super Italian. I did not look up his bandmates' names other than the guys who were on the song. But yeah, he's got the long curly hair.
For the record, I don't really like that guy, and I also don't like Max Weinberg. He's too cheery when he plays drums. He's like, just poppy, and I don't know why I want to punch both of them in the face.
Doesn't Max Weinberg also?
Is that too judgy?
No. And doesn't Max Weinberg also always wear like a suit, or is that just on Conan O'Brien?
No, I bet you it's only on Conan O'Brien. I don't see him as a t-shirt guy, but his son is I think was the drummer of Slipknot.
That sounds familiar. Crazy. Yeah. I mean, he's got that drummer blood in his genes, but then to go from.
But he's got that whole Max Weinberg bobblehead shit going on. Fuck, you can't do that in Slipknot.
Well, that's why his son didn't like his son didn't like his happy-go-lucky attitude either.
Yeah, I would. So, one of the things about this song that I think is pretty interesting, is and you had mentioned this earlier, is that the lyrics are loosely assembled collection of childhood memories and references, obviously, but it's like he busted out the rhyming dictionary, and so there's like, okay, so there's the Madman drummers, bummers, Indians in the summer with a teenage diplomat, and when you hear that, it's the Madman drummer is actually he's referring to his drummer who was known as Madman or some other thing close to that. Indians in Summer was actually the baseball team he was on in Little League, and the teenage diplomat was Springsteen himself. So very, like, this is what it was. I mean, this is me. These are normal things. But then he also, in the same verse, like flips the script to very philosophical things. With a boulder on my shoulder, feeling kind of older, I tripped a merry-go-round. With this very unpleasant sneezing, wheezing, Kalala piece crashed to the ground. The boulder on his shoulder was a chip he had kind of carried for a long time. tripped on a merry-go-round was his life on the at the time. And, the calliope, is that what the word is?
Calliope.
Calliope. See, there you go. I needed a word guy back in there. Was him seeking disruption in his life, and so it takes these very literal things and butts them up against these very philosophical things, which I think that's very Dylan-esque. And I could see why people would pull those two things together.
Yeah, and the way he also sings his song and it's kind of structured gives it that Dylan feel as well.
And it's one of the few songs that Springsteen wrote the words and then found the music to go with it. He typically used to find the music or the melody or whatever he did and then put words to it, which I think when you listen to this song and you know that in your head, it makes a lot of sense because there is some weird pentameter in there that you're like, how did he get to that point? Well, if he was just rhyming in a dictionary at home one night drinking some beers, which I'm sure that's what he was doing, drinking some beers.
Yeah.
Then I could see it coming out that way.
Yeah. Did you know this was Bruce Springsteen's only #1 hit on the charts as well?
Yeah. No,
and it was
he didn't even
it
get
was
it there,
Manfred
right?
Mann's version. But yeah, he had two others that got up there. Dancing in the Dark got to #2, and the Pointer Sisters version of his song Fire got to #2. But I don't know. I'm not familiar with that song.
Is that the one that I'm on fire?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. No, you say that.
I can't believe the Pointer Sisters version was charted better than his. That's crazy.
I meant to listen to that because, yeah, I didn't know they covered that song. But.
And I, you know what? I'm gonna have to do this afterwards because obviously we're on the podcast right now. But I mean, between like Born in the USA, Glory Days, I mean, those songs were massive. So somebody was higher up on the charts than those songs, and those are lasting songs. Songs that must have knocked them off the charts had to be monsters.
The opening guitar riff to this song, I think it starts probably around 12 or 14 seconds in, and he starts playing a guitar riff, and it sounds almost exactly like the Doobie Brothers' Listen to the Music opening guitar riff.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
You know what's funny? Today I listened to it. Keep going, man, because it's funny you said that, because today I couldn't place it.
Yeah, so basically I was listening to them back to back, and holy cow, it's eerily similar. And then so Bruce Springsteen wrote this song in September of 1972. And in September of 1972, the Doobie Brothers song "Listen to the Music" was in the top 50 of the hit charts. So I'm sure he heard that on the radio a few times and just kind of sunk into his brain.
Yeah, and the song starts out with a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if a lot of people know that this is the original or have ever even heard the original, but
yeah,
it is one of those things. This is one of those points where I've heard it. But then I listened to it today with headphones on several times, and in the very beginning, there is a lot of instrumentation. There is a lot of different things going on, and it's hard to really focus on any one thing until he kind of gets to the lyrics. I mean, kind of reminds me of, and I know it had to been put out after this, but the beginning of Whatever Gets You Through the Night by John Lennon. There's just it like hits you so hard in the very beginning, and then it gets into the song. And but yeah, this one here, there's a lot there, and I was like, holy shit, if this goes through the whole song, I'm gonna be like on full. But maybe we should. You thinking about listening to this?
I am. I'm thinking about giving it a play and letting everybody hear what we're talking about, because like you mentioned, a lot of people probably didn't know this was the original version, and even if they did, they might not have even listened to it yet. So,
the song's 5 minutes and 4 seconds long. There's 21 million listens on Spotify, and we'll kick off to that. Charlie, there's a little interlude, right?
Yep, so that'll play because we can't play the song, and yeah, we'll be back in a few minutes.
inches.
I got dangerously close to a fade out.
Did. I was just writing that down. It's like it was almost a fade out. They were like, "No, we're gonna fade this out." But 40 years from now, these guys might be reviewing this thing, and we gotta make sure that we get this right. 40 years ago, 48 years ago.
Yeah, Bruce had some foresight there, but yeah, that's a heck of a song. That's a lot. I should have put this into a word counter because wow, I'm gonna do that right now.
Oh my gosh!
You talk for a minute about the song while I put this into a word counter.
I will, because I will never not be able to listen to the song or hear the song and not listen to the music. And I'm not sure if this is what's going to ruin the song for me or if it's just the song that ruins it for me. But there's a lot going on, and that keeps going all the way through. And it's funny. Well, there's got to be one's got to. Well, they're within a year, so they couldn't have heard it, right? I mean, I don't know.
What are you talking about? Oh, what are you talking about?
To listen to the music. Whoa, or what was it? Listen to the music?
No, that was on the radio. Like it was out. It was an album out when Bruce was writing "Blinded by the Light."
Oh, yeah. He had to have been. He plagiarized it. They're gonna spawn a lawsuit for sure.
Oh yeah, after they listen to this podcast, we're gonna some deep conspiracies here.
I know they're probably listening right now.
So, the count in, it's 546 words, but that includes like the 25 I was blinded at the end. So 546 words and 2,830 characters.
Wow,
so, that's a lot.
Fun fact there. I'm gonna bring that to my next party.
Yeah, you got to take some over/under bets on it.
When you're speaking of influences and hearing his delivery of this, because again, this is a little outside of what I would normally think of with Bruce Springsteen. I know this is his first big hit or whatever he had, but I can hear things that sound like Rick Danko from the band on his delivery of his vocals. Rick Danko, one of the singers of the band who played with Bob Dylan, had kind of this weak, almost sort of wimpy kind of sound, but did it with the way he delivered vocals was sort of in the same way. The band at times reminds me of Van Morrison's band, like with like Caravan, and there's a lot going on back there. And I think obviously when John Lennon, was doing his thing, there was a lot of those sounds too. So I think there's a lot going on there. And then people who are inspired by this sound, the dude from the Counting Crows, I could see his delivery almost the same in this. I mean, this sounds like a song that I think that dude listened to a bunch and been like, that's what I want to sound like. Again, I don't know. But
yeah, well, Adam,
what do you think about that?
Adam Durowitz, I think his name is, from the Counting Crows.
There you go. Durowitz, that's what it was.
I can see that. I think he was a Dylan fan himself, and he probably got into some Springsteen. I mean, we could probably do some Google research. Maybe we'll do a Counting Crows song one day. Who knows? But I agree with your Rick Danko comparison with like song that definitely just pops into the head is Stage Fright, and
that's one I was thinking.
Yeah. So, and then the way he sings, like during the last waltz, the live album they did, when he gets up there and sings his verse of the weight and things like that, and he's just got that shaky delivery and raspy. But yeah, I agree with you. That's a very good point. I didn't even think of that.
You said it perfectly when you said shaky, because that's what it is, and it just is that wavering. It's that wavering thing. And by the way, Neil Young actually. One of his pseudonyms is Shaky, Bernard Shaky, and because of that wavering voice that he has. But I think that's when he does movies or something like that. But he has a bunch of personas. That's probably for another episode.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a Neil Young in here now that he's back on Spotify.
I know the protests only last 2 years, so no, there is a lot of everything throughout the song. In the very beginning, especially, there's literally guitars. You got backing vocals. You got organ, piano, sax, acoustic guitars. It's like for recording this on the cheap, because they didn't. They There's several sources that say that they went to a pretty much unknown studio to try to save on money, uh, to save money on their advance. There's a lot going on for a quote unquote cheap recording, but I guess if Clive Davis is coming down from his tower and saying, "You better get this one right," yeah, maybe you should. So
yeah, they put all their eggs in a couple song baskets.
there you go.
But Manfred Mann, their take on this is radically different.
It is. Uh, I'm gonna lead off. This is my lead hit. Is I love the title of this album's name, "The Roaring Silence." I think that for some reason it I was like, that's a cool album name. That's shit that I wish I would have done myself. But in 1966 or excuse me, 76, they released this album, which this was also like.
Did you see the cover for this album? It's creepy.
Where's the
big
ear,
the mouth inside of it?
I don't like looking at it because it kind of weirds me out for some reason. Like,
yeah,
I always feel like there's earwigs going in my ear, so I don't. So, but no, that's cool, and I like it that it's all clay looking, and but no, it was a lead-off song on their album too. So on Bruce Springsteen's, it was the first song, and theirs was the first one as well. So
yeah,
we get right into it.
Yeah, and so Manfred Mann is actually the dude's name, and then it's his Earth band. So and he did solo stuff, or recorded just under the name Manfred Mann before, but. Just looking at some of the songs he recorded, the dude liked to cover songs. There are a lot of cover songs on his albums. Pretty much it seemed like his first 10 albums had at least one Bob Dylan song on it. They covered 3 Bruce Springsteen songs that I could find. They covered Randy Newman. They covered Dr. John. They covered John Prine, The Police, Joni Mitchell, The Beatles, The Rolling Stones. And then the most interesting one was this guy named Nick Curry, also known by his stage name as Momus. And the reason it's the most interesting is because the dude wears an eye patch. So you should Google. You should Google Momus. And yeah, there's another example of a cool dude wearing an eye patch.
I just had $1,000 idea. What if you sold eye patches for eclipses, and that way you could just cover one eye with your hand while you look through the eye patch at the sun, but then when you want to talk to your friends, you can take your hand down and you don't have to remove your glasses.
That's brilliant. But yeah, I would have to make them special with the special lens so their retinas didn't get burnt. But dang it. I don't know if I have time.
I don't think we have time. We have
I can just buy a bunch of eye patches from Amazon, then go buy a bunch of glasses, $2.99 glasses, cut them out, put them in the eye patch, sell them for $15 a pop. There, it's done. I'll even brand them with Under the Covers podcast stickers.
There we go. Oh my gosh, we're bringing it all the way back.
Because put your eye under that cover, baby.
So, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Okay, so I have heard obviously the Blinded by the Light version. I've also heard other songs that they've done. They sound like Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Supertramp, and as a matter of fact, up until a week ago, I thought Supertramp was the people who did this song. So
yeah, and I think last night we were discussing this, and I think I even said, and I think you may have meant Electric Light Orchestra, ELO, instead of Emerson Lake, but I guess Emerson, Lake and Palmer's prog rock too. Yeah. But I thought this was an ELO song. And when you Google it, you find all sorts of results for Blinded by the Light, Electric Light Orchestra, Blinded by the Light, ELO lyrics. And so it's like, it's not just me.
Yeah.
And yeah, would you say Supertramp, which is, that's another one this could be.
Yeah. It's all in that. And I did say Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It is both of those, because if you listen to some of the deeper cuts on Manfred Mann, it gets a little, Emerson, Lake and Palmer too.
Okay.
Because they're all about these keyboards. The dude loves keyboards.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's times it sounds like Deep Purple. There's times they sound like Rush. There's a lot of different stuff going on. But and they always go off on these little tangents. That's the thing. Look, I'm a guitar guy. I like guitars. I like amps. So when it starts venturing into the keyboard range, it's hard for me to, get into it.
Yeah. I like the keyboards and the synthesizers and all that stuff. I like prog rock and I like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I've got a few of
Yeah.
their albums for sure. But it gets into that noodly range that you definitely don't like, where it's just kind of
Yeah.
experimental, basically. It's not necessarily a
Yeah.
perfect song structure.
But what I do like about what they did in today, while I was at the office there and, just had music going on there, I listened to a lot of Man from Mann live stuff. Yes, there are times it goes into noodle, but you can tell that there's improvisation all the way through. He was a jazz based guy, so that's what it was more about the structure of the song and then dealing with all this. But where I so it's funny you said this because there's the noodly stuff which I don't really like, but there's also like Rush, where I love Rush because of the complicated song structures. But when you go see them live, it's the song live, right? Like it's like you don't feel like they're pushing it to the level. So there is a little bit of a guardrail there. But I did read this, which was interesting, and you hear it at times. You don't hear it so much in this song, but Manfred Mann's trademark for a keyboardist was he bends notes down rather than up. Now on this song, there's a lot of up bends. But in guitar and everything else, when you play a note, a lot of times you bend up because you press the note, hit the note, and then bend up. It's really hard to bend a note up and then let it hit the the off note. But he got that trick from he was inspired by Miles Davis, one of his heroes, and
Nice.
obviously doing what Miles Davis does. So it was interesting that that's kind of his style. And if you listen to more and more Man for Man, you'll hear this sort of downward draw versus a bend up, which is
Okay. Nice.
interesting.
That is. I'm gonna have to check out more of Mr. Mann's music.
Mr. Mann's. But we can't let this episode go by, right? Without the lyric, right?
Right.
I mean, it's what everybody talks about.
I mean, it's one of the things Bruce Springsteen said probably got it to number one. But go ahead.
And Man for Man also says the same thing. But
don't they also say it was an accident? Which, hey, maybe it was.
Yeah. So maybe it was. So the lyric, everybody talks about this, is that it's blinded by the light, revved up like a deuce, and the Manfred Mann version is douche. So you're talking about a hot rod versus a feminine hygiene product.
Yes.
And the official thing is Manfred Mann had said they admitted they flubbed the lyric, and even Warner Brothers, their label, said they had to change it. However, there was a malfunction with the tape machine on how it records it, so that they couldn't redo it. They would love to. They were going to, but they couldn't because of this issue. And so they just left it, being like, if it's a hit, it's a hit. If it's not, fuck it.
Yeah, I love that. I read that quote too. I like the quote and that's a quote from Man for Man, and then also in that quote he said, record label said, "You've got to change deuce because the Southern Bible Belt radio stations thinks it's about a vaginal douche, and they have problems with body parts down there."
They got. Oh my gosh. I wish I could say more bad stuff about the South, but I lived there for a while, and I don't want all of that market to go away. But I
No,
think
no.
vaginal body parts might be the least of their problems.
I also read in an interview with Manfred Mann that he wanted Bruce Springsteen to sing the final line in the song, where he talks about
Wow.
um, what's the final line? It's like the most important lyric. Oh wait, no,
She's
yeah,
she got down, but she
but you never got tired. Just gonna make. Yeah, he wanted Bruce to sing that, and I guess he got Bruce's hotel room number at some point because he. Oh yeah, he said he didn't want to go through the record companies and all that rigmarole.
oh
So he
yeah, good.
somehow found out what hotel Bruce was staying at a certain time, called, got transferred to his room. He said somebody answered and they sounded all groggy like they had a late night. And he was like, "Hey, you sound like you've had a rough night." And he goes, and then he like grunted. The guy in the other lane grunted, and then he's like, "Okay, I'll call back later," and then never called back. He said he lost the nerve and never called back, and so he just sang the line. But because yeah, Manfred Mann doesn't sing. He's got. I mean, there's very few
Yeah,
songs he actually sings on. But yeah, he
yeah,
sings that last part. But yeah, he lost the nerve after
because
he gave up.
he's too busy dealing with all those keyboards and all the synths and all the little pluggers that they got to do in and dive bombing it down. And but he's he's a long lasting one hit wonder. I'll say that. I don't think he really had anything after this, but before this or after this,
Yeah.
has he? I don't think he did.
Not to
I don't know.
my knowledge, that I can think of off the top of my head. Let's see some of their top songs. Though their top two songs are "Blinded by the Light," the original version, and the second top is "Blinded by the Light," the radio edit.
Oh man, you know what? This brings up a topic right now.
Mm-hmm.
So this song, because there's a radio edit, right? Radio can't play a 7 minute and 8 second song. That's hard for them to do. Even nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
even in the days that they could play a long song. But this song is one of those songs that I never really listened to the center section. And because I never liked the beginning of the song, so I
Mm.
never got to like the center section. It reminds me of like My Sharona, right? I fucking hate My Sharona, and I never knew there was like this kick ass raging guitar solo. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go on a rant here. I was actually at a bar in Michigan. There was the Marine Tap Room or something like this, and there was a band that started playing My Sharona, and I looked at Mindy and I was like, "Fuck, I hate this song," and so I went and grabbed a beer, took a leak, and they're playing this, and I'm like, God, I want to punch people when I hear this song, right? Well, then I'm trying to like talk over the band, and I've got a pretty loud voice, so I can talk over any fucking band I want. But um, then pretty soon they start getting into this jam section. I'm looking at them. I'm like, God dang, this band is really rocking out this song. I mean, but they're playing the real song note for note, and Mindy's looking at me like, "Are you an idiot? You never heard the middle of this song?" And I'm like, "No." And they played it straight up, and I'm like, "God dang!" So now I endure the beginning of My Sharona just to listen to that, and then when they go back into that fucking,
Nice.
I'm like fucking out.
But with the magic of the digital
But this
music, you
song,
should be able to just skip it pretty easily.
I should just go right through there. I should just. But this song, gosh, I don't really like the beginning, but man, they go into a cool, trippy little jam, and I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
But then they fuck it up.
When do they fuck it up? When they start playing chopsticks?
Yes. Who the fuck does that? I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? You just got me all the way to here and we're doing chopsticks? Oh, you said douche and then you did chopsticks.
It's a choice. I don't know if it's supposed to be ironic or what, but it's it, it it works for me. like just because that's what I know with the song. So it never really bugs me that much. Oh shoot, my
I mean, you're
just fell down. Well, since it fell down, I'll show it to you. Look at how creepy his hands are with that guitar.
oh whoa, ooh,
So, so I don't
what's
have
up
a
with
Bruce
that?
Springsteen nor a Manfred Mann album. So I printed out. I used an AI generator to say a rock and roll man holding a guitar while staring at the solar eclipse, and it put it put the guitar behind his back like a freaking AI would. So yes, it's
AI has no idea how to do fingers and hands.
pretty
But
great.
let's just go back to this.
Yeah,
You're a jazz phenom. You know how to improvise. You have a gazillion keyboards, and the way you end your jam here, your bridge, the bridge that's going to keep guys like me interested with fucking chopsticks. We got to get to the song. We got to get to the song pretty quick. I'm
yeah,
getting fired up.
yeah. Well, one other point before we get to the songs, they cut out like
Do it.
they make the song like 50% longer, but yet
2
they
minutes.
still cut out like 3 verses. So interesting there.
Cause it's a great middle section. You
Yeah.
want to listen to that jam for the whole time. I listened to it live. I mean, it's like, yeah, fucking chopsticks. 7 minutes 8 seconds long. There's 130 million plays. Fucking let's get into this. Let's hear our goddamn chopsticks. Fucking bitches. Fucking bitches. She got down, but she never got tired. She's gonna make it through the night.
God damn,
And then you hear
when did Manfred
in the
Mann get
background.
here?
No, I didn't. Oh, Jesus. God, what a cool song.
It is a cool
I thought I
song.
would hate this song, Charlie.
Yeah. I'm glad you don't. I've always enjoyed this song. It's got so much going on. It's like a schizophrenic song pretty much all the way throughout.
It
Um,
is.
but I love it. Like the guitars, the keyboards, piano, synthesizers, all that jazz. I love the harmonies. In the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they arranged this really, really, really cool.
Yeah. It builds you up like 10 times and it brings you back down like a few times and there's some weird timing things that are
Mm-hmm.
super interesting. Um you know, it starts out like Bob O'Reilly a little bit with the keys.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a goddamn good job all the way through. I just personally never got through it because right away he hits bad lyrics. You know, I'm like, hey, maybe don't say douche in the first 8 seconds.
Well, that's probably true, but you got into my head with your anger over chopsticks. And so listening to it this time around, I was like, damn it, maybe Nick's right. Maybe those chopsticks do kind of ruin the song. They don't ruin it, but
You know,
but yeah.
it's such a good song. It's you know when you hear Bruce Springsteen sing it, it's very straightforward. There's a lot going on, and it's sort of like he's kind of winging it. Sort of like you know, sort of like hard to handle and stuff like this. But you know, the way they did it, they turned it into sort of a mini opera. It's sort of like Bohemian Rhapsody, if I had
Mm-hmm.
put it on thing.
Yeah,
And
great point.
it's just it's great how they. I mean that drum, that cymbal that's going through all the way the whole thing, and you know the bridge is a great bridge. That guitar solo is, I don't know if the guy just wung it or winged it or whatever you want to say there, or how many times he took a stab at it. But gosh, I mean, there's not a there's not a bad thing other than the two big things.
Yeah.
Which I hate to say that.
Those are great points. Yeah, I don't have much to add to what you said and what I said previously. It's just the way they arranged it was just so fun. But I did want to add,
Yeah.
while I was listening to it, and earlier when I said, talked about Mr. Mann calling up Mr. Springfield or Springsteen, not Springfield. No, this isn't a Rick
Mm.
Springfield
Yeah,
song.
Rick wasn't there.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, in my mind, the lyric I was thinking he had said when I said it was the most important was the "Mama always told me not to look into the eyes of the sun, but Mama, that's where the fun is."
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
that is what the song is all about. Is wanting to basically just go out and experience something new and just be like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try it." And
Yeah.
and so I think I had read that that's what Bruce Springsteen kind of said was the most important part of the song was that lyric.
It is. That is the life lesson you should have here. And it's it's like sometimes you sit there as a kid, or a young adult, and sit there and be like, yeah, mom's told me this thing, and thinking like, well, it's good advice and everything like that, but I'll give it a try. And the weird thing is, there are a few lemmings there that make it, right.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be a lot of lemmings that fall off and drown, and so I think that mom always told me not to look into the sights of the sun or look into the lights, and it it does. There is a pretty pretty appropriate message there, and that's
Yeah,
why I had these glasses
exactly.
ready to go.
Listen to your
Thank you.
mama. Do not look into the sun during the eclipse. Don't forget our PSA from earlier.
There you go. There you go. But anyway, I'm ready to make my call here. If
Nice.
you
You're
if you are,
you're up first.
I know. So Bruce, he wrote it quickly, and there's killer lyrics. I mean, that's when you get down. I'm just went right to brass tacks there, because that's what he did here. He got down to brass tacks
Mm-hmm.
and did it. Man from Man totally reinvented it, to me. Yes, there are some melody similarities, but you hear they took it to a new level. Great jam. I love that jam. I feel like it does go somewhere. It's not noodling around.
Right.
And the builds and the falls are totally cool. So this is for sure. I mean, as I was looking over the course of the last 15 episodes, and this is as close as it's ever been. But I'll say this: chopsticks and feminine products are not allowed in rock and roll. And why did they do that? So I'm giving it to fucking Bruce Springsteen.
All right. We got to vote for Bruce. Right. Well, I can agree with you that chopsticks should not be allowed in rock and roll, maybe, but with the exception of this song. But feminine products, yeah, they can be wherever they want. So,
Nah.
well, maybe not wherever they want. But
I was like, yeah, I don't know where we were going with that. I'm never going to. Never in my life do I want to interrupt you during your vote phase. But when you were like feminine products, I mean, they could be anywhere. So can't wait to hear, it drop. Like the rammers are in there.
Oh God, rammers! I forgot your mom calls them that, or it's an Ohio thing, I think. I hope Mindy's listening to this right now. Well, not right now because we're recording. But long story short, yeah, you made great points. Bruce wrote amazing lyrics for this. Just sat down with his thoughts and his memories and his rhyming dictionary and just went to town. Manfred Mann's Earth Band took this to a whole new level. I can forgive the chopsticks and the feminine products. I really, really, really enjoy this song. I do enjoy Bruce's version more than I thought I would. Hadn't listened to it in a long time, but it's still good. But I'm going with Manfred Mann's Earth Band.
Nice.
So happy eclipse, everyone.
Happy eclipse. Hey, as your mom will say, if you're out there during the April 8th eclipse, she always told you not to look into the sights of the sun. So please get glasses, or do the little pinhole trick. I think there's a way that you can actually put a piece of hole, like a little pinhole through a.
Google it.
But enjoy the eclipse and let us know what you guys all think. Is it Bruce Springsteen, the originator, or is it Man from Mann with his lyrics?
We appreciate y'all for taking the time to listen to us. Any comments, please let us know. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. We're on all the platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google. You can find us there. I think this episode gave some good TikTok content, so maybe I'll start putting more stuff up there. I hope Nick wears these glasses every week.
Piano in the TikTok.
And your cool glasses. All right. Well, yeah, I guess that's it. We love y'all.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.